Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Brokakaka. I'm Jim.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Oceaniz.
Oh yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
It's all right.
Yes,
we never had a
Oceaniz.
guest come in here like just go with the flow like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this is what people do. I guess I'm just, I come here, waltz in, take up all the space. Man, terrible.
You're right. You're fitting right in. You're good.
Just like an ocean has many flows and currents, you too can go with the flow.
Exactly.
So yes, thank you so much for joining us today, Oceans. Also, you said I could address you as Dennis as well. I think I'll do that. It makes it sound a little more like a normal conversation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this is we're super psyched. Just to catch everyone up, this is a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast thing we normally do called Jokakaka. We are now doing a sort of spin-off series called Brokakaka, where we have on fun guests. So I'm kind of wanting to do like one of these a month because we normally get like one chapter a month. Now hopefully we can do like one of these a month. Maybe we'll see some familiar faces, but yeah.
So Dennis, you want to give like a brief introduction if people like some reason haven't seen a video of yours?
Sure. I am just an anime essay YouTuber person man. I have made a lot of videos on JoJo specifically, but I generally cover anything in the realm of like shonen, anime, and manga. So if you ever wanna check out my channel, if you ever want to see a man like literally praise Golden Wind for like an hour straight, that's the place. But yeah, that's me.
Very nice.
Yeah, I've seen a few of your videos. I remember seeing them. I think recommended to me maybe about a half year ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I really like the Golden Wind ones. You have there's this really like kind of newer trend in YouTube where there's these like super intense, like long, as you said, videos that I just love. I love just putting on a super long video and just doing chores or making food, whatever. They're really great to have on, stimulate my brain.
Jim literally said, like, oh yeah, just watch like a 7-hour like Dark Souls lore video. You should totally check it out. Like, I don't have that time. If I'm like playing Monster Hunter, I need something in the background. I maybe, but no.
But
yeah, I mean, I kind of get told that that's kind of like the big allure of long form content. But I mean, I suppose it's kind of similar to like how podcasts are consumed. I think, where you put them on while you're driving to work or something, and you can listen to us talk right here.
Yeah, pretend like you're part of the conversation.
Your lovely voices in your ears.
Yes.
That's what I do. It works.
Yeah, definitely. There's this one image that I always think of when I think about podcasts, and it's like this man sitting in front of like a poster with all these like women that are eating ice cream and laughing, and then he's just sitting there like he's part of this poster.
Oh no,
that's what podcasting is.
That's the thumbnail for the video, right? where our faces are gonna be over the three girls.
Oh no.
There we go. Just for you.
All right, so I thought it'd be kind of fun then to have like a sort of a jumping off point topic. And right now, I think a lot of people have a Stone Ocean on the brain. There's that like potential anime announcement that just didn't happen at Anime Expo.
We got a cool live performance of the Giorno theme, so
yeah, that was very cool. I forget the guy's name. It's like Yugo,
the composer,
Kano.
Yugo Kano.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, Yugo Kano. He did that really awesome. I don't know if you caught that, Dennis. He did like a really awesome live version of the Giorno theme.
No, I did not watch the stream. I watched it afterwards, but I didn't follow it live because I already knew what the like vibe in the chat was gonna be there.
Yeah.
I was not quite ready for just seeing part 6 when 70 times,
Well, the best part is that they just put into emote only because people wouldn't shut up about JoJo or spoil JoJo endings.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating part about those is like, I mean, your boy loves JoJo, I'm not gonna lie, but JoJo fans are ravenous.
Yeah,
they're
that's also probably a reason why I've kind of stuck away from JoJo for a while now, because the fan base is, let's use the word volatile.
Yeah, I think that's a very good word for it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things people get really into.
Yeah, on like both sides of the spectrum. There is the positive type of passion, which is, people like us. And then you have the very less so positive type of passion, which is people who spam David Pro about part 6,
They will literally like say every part of JoJo is perfect and not talk about like any negatives in it at all. Or any negatives are the memes, and they just would say it just to do the meme.
Yeah.
Like Rocky forgot.
Oh,
yeah. It's and like, of course, that's one of the things so we've been going through part 3 and doing little podcasts with that, and we've hit a bit of like, I don't want to say backlash, that's not the word, some pushback when we're a little critical of things. Mm-hmm. And it's just like there's kind of this disconnect. I think I don't want to be like mean, but I think it's like maybe younger fans who are just getting into it, they don't understand that like something that was written like almost 30 years ago can have some issues, or that there might be some things that have been edited, or not edited, but like have been fixed in Araki's writing style in the time since. But
the time Araki actually forgot that Dio had the reflection, or like he drew him having a reflection even though he's a vampire.
But I mean, yeah, I think in general though with JoJo, people tend to forget just how old it is, and how much of it can be like kind of dated. Like I remember when part 6 was airing, and there was the episode with the Junkin kid.
Even 4.
What?
Part 4. You said part 6.
Oh, oops. Never mind. Time traveler. Yeah, no.
Part 6 on them brains.
Well. In part 4, when you have the Junkin kid, I remember there were people saying, "Oh, is that a reference to Gon from Hunter x Hunter?" It's like part 4 predates Hunter x Hunter by like 3 years. Yeah, it's
it's literally rock paper scissors. Like, and Jenkin's like so pop. Like Goku in Dragon Ball used use Jenkin as like a move set. So just like everything uses rock paper scissors, and like Shonen especially loves Jenkin.
Yeah,
there's this like funny like reverse of that, where like just what you said, like so many characters and designs are references to JoJo. Like in Street Fighter, there have been several character designs that reference JoJo.
Guile and Rose.
And yeah, so a lot of people are like experiencing that first, because JoJo didn't really get its big big Western exposure until pretty recently.
Yeah, so 2012 basically.
Yeah, it's actually like crazy that it stayed over there. It stayed kind of isolated for that long. But yeah, it's like people have a reverse discovery of like, oh wow, this character kind of looks like Lisa. I wonder if Lisa is based off this. Like, oh wait, no.
It's more so Guile and Strohan, because people forget that Rose exists when Manat's there.
That's true. I like Rose, though. I think Rose is fun.
But they made Manat, who's like superior to Rose in every way.
Yeah, I really have not been following Street Fighter, though. So
I do. I followed the stupid story. I love it.
So yeah. I mean, with JoJo, you just get to, because you mentioned it, there is this specific disconnect that we have here in the West, of course, because of that sort of late bloomer situation that we have with JoJo, which, it's crazy to think about. To the West, for as long as JoJo has like existed, that time frame of popularity has been completely like enclosed within the existence of Part 8. Part 8 started in 2011, and 2012 was when JoJo had its renaissance. It's like, it's insane. Like, we have never even seen a new part start. That's how much baby we are compared to the Japanese fans.
Yeah, because we have the anime came out. There was All-Star Battle was there, and like I think there was even a short re-release of Heritage for the Future that was on 360 that came with All-Star Battle. So people were just getting like it in different medias like crazy. And part 2 being part of the Part 1 anime really helped it, I think. 'Cause if it was just aired Part 1, I don't think it would have nearly blown up compared to like Joseph's like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People would be like, what? Or like the first half of like, because people always say like, oh, just keep watching it, especially when you get to Part 2 or the end of Part 1, you'll really like love it.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think I've never really talked about it at length, but I think the way that they adapted Part 1 is very interesting, and like how they had to not only like update the designs, which I think they did a fantastic job at like taking the concepts of Araki's like character designs at the time and making them a little more modern. But also they had to like they wanted to like abridge it almost. Like it feels like it's very condensed because they wanted to get to further parts. Because I went back and reread Part 1, or read through it after I had we'd started the podcast actually, so I was already kind of into JoJo, but I was shocked at how like longer it felt and how much more I enjoyed it reading it.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of my experience with part 1 as well, because it's like they cut part 2 as well, but part 1 is probably the part that has most of its cut in the anime, you know. There's like an entire, I want to say like an entire sub arc regarding Jonathan when he's still a child that's just kind of cut, where he like confronts his father and has like his little thing where he eats chocolate.
Yes.
And then there's like the whole training arc with Zeppeli that in the anime is literally just like, and then we trained. And that's it. It's like, yeah,
montage.
But that's it. We didn't even get, like, I'm pretty sure we don't even get a montage. He just says after months of grueling training, which is like, okay, gonna take your word for it. Yeah.
It's easy to forget that, honestly, like, to not realize that happened, because that was an issue I think I had too, where it feels like part 1 takes place in the course of like 4 days, but it actually takes place over like more than a decade of Jonathan's life.
Yeah. And I think that's also, I wonder how much of an influence that has had in like Jonathan's staying power as like a JoJo, because I feel like out of all the JoJos, he's the one that's most often forgotten by the fan base, which of course is largely anime only. Yeah. And I do think like the fact that they took all of Phantom Blood and made it 9 episodes kind of contributed to that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like,
especially part 1, like we didn't get the Phantom Blood movie, was like never really released, and like it kind of got the shaft and a lot of stuff. Never got that video game made about it. Got the shaft in like every form of media possible for it.
Yeah,
this was when I had finished. This is at the time where I hadn't read the manga yet, but when I had finished, like caught up to the manga in JoJo, I played one of the fighting games, and one of the more recent ones. And I was shocked to see how many costumes that they gave Jonathan. Like, Jonathan had, like, 6 or so different costumes.
He changed his costume a lot.
Yeah, and if you read the manga, like, there's so many different costumes that you see in, like, the cover pages and stuff. But it's, like, I had, like, no context for these. It really feels like that kind of aspect is a little left out in that anime.
I love his little detective outfit. That's, like, my favorite one.
The one where he goes to Ogre Street?
Yeah,
yes.
He had to dress up like Sherlock Holmes.
Where he has I really like the cape on that one. I feel like capes in JoJo always good. Always good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a cape, the one Giorno one where he's just like naked except for like the sheet, like that, like he's supposed to be the one like sculpture?
Oh yes. That's actually also in the that's also in the game. No, it's also in.
Yeah, it is. So is Trish's like wrapped up in like a curtain one is there, and he doesn't. You're not allowed to punch in that one. You just kick. It's really funny. But yeah, the fan base can be rabid.
Yeah,
just like other animes, like going to conventions. I remember like My Hero fan base kind of rabid, or like even Attack on Titan was like at the first season that they were rabid too.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just what happens to popular series. I think I don't know. With JoJo specifically, you have that big disconnect where people treat it as like the hot new thing when really it's more like a milestone of shonen writing and manga. So I don't know. I feel like it's almost a bit more annoying because of that specific thing.
Their obsessions change, especially when the part anime come out. Like part 5, like was not nearly talked about as much, and then everybody would not shut up about the Hitman team, like nonstop.
Yeah. I mean,
it's almost like a reverse. Like it felt like people hated part 5 until the anime came out.
Yeah,
I remember if you go to like old forum posts, a lot of people recommend that you skip part 5 because it's filler and it's not enjoyable. It's like, I've been a part 5 stan since the first time I read it. Also because I'm half Italian, so I have to, legally obliged. But yeah, so when part 5 came out and everybody started loving it, I was like, I wonder if this is a common phenomenon.
But it was like, it's like crazy. I'm just like, I'm just ready for like the part 6 weird hype that's gonna be around, even though because like I liked part 5 a lot too going in it. I think my viewpoint coming out of it was like, I don't think Giorno was the best. I think everybody else in the team I liked more than Giorno. But like I love the fights. I think I always like that had the best fights. Like when I told Jim about like part 5, or he's about to get into part 5, it's like you will love the battles in this part. Like it's great.
It feels like the snappiest part, where it's like almost every arc is like, at least to me when I was reading it, was super exciting. And compared to, I think a good point in comparison to part 5 is part 3.
Oh,
part
yes,
3
of course.
didn't really like win me over in every fight. Like there were some that I was kind of like, not super into, but
The whole end part of like part 3 though is like great. Like
yeah,
I think especially rereading it now, like we're very like up and down on them, or like these like the capabilities of these stands before like Araki really got like a hold on these.
Yeah, of course. I mean, part 3 more than any other part is where you can really see Araki like try things out and struggle with his new ideas. I feel like there's no other part where you can really see that even through the pages.
Especially through like, I think the tarot cards that we've been going, they've been like up and down, like very weird variety.
Yeah. I mean, the whole tarot card thing being abandoned halfway through part 3 is also pretty telling. You know,
Yeah,
we
were just talking about like, imagine if instead of like Egyptian gods, he went for like reverse tarot cards. So like it's just the opposite.
Yeah, I mean that could have also been cool. Yeah,
and it just, to me, it feels so much more like JoJo when the stands have like band reference names.
It's kind of crazy that we're gonna go to Vanilla Ice and he just has cream, which is just gonna be like so sudden, like out of nowhere. That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, like those band names have popped up in JoJo since part 1. So yeah.
Like, but now you're going from gods and tarot cards to these are also going to be like music based.
yeah, of course.
But also vanilla ice cream. We're like, come on, man.
I mean, yeah, okay, that's
and
fair.
it's like the most like threatening like guy / stand combo like you probably see until Dio, probably even more than Dio's world.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think one thing that JoJo really nails is that sort of juxtaposition between absurdity and genuine like tension. And I think Vanilla Ice is actually a really good example of that, because he is really, really intimidating. His power is terrifying, but he's called Vanilla Ice and he looks like a stripper. It's like, you know.
He also like wearing like he has like a Speedo on top of his like actual full outfit.
Yeah, this design always creeped me out in like a weird way. Like the way he should not be so scary wearing Speedo.
And he's also a vampire.
Yes, exactly.
Don't forget that, the only other vampire. Oh no, there is one more vampire, but he's like a jobber.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. What's his Nukisaku? He's a vampire too, right?
The woman back guy.
Oh yeah, the most useful power of them all.
That gets it's just so Rocky could have a panel of Jotaro punching a woman in the face. Like it's literally it.
Ooh, we're on to you, Araki.
I those out of nowhere panels I just love. Should we just get to the newest hot topic that will happen once part 6 is animated? So what just like kind of talk about what we think is what are people gonna obsess over, what's gonna be animated better, what's gonna be animated like worse, I think, compared to its manga counterpart.
What could be the most challenging to create in the anime? Because like I think the one thing I'd like to kind of bring a point to reference is I thought the White album fight in the anime was like poorly done, personally.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Whereas like there were certain other fights that really excelled, like the
B.I.G.
B.I.G. was like an improvement to me.
But the thing is also, of course, that White Album, like those episodes around episode 18, 19, that's, of course, also where the anime production behind the scenes kind of started collapsing, because, of course, Part 5's production was a nightmare, from what we know. And, of course, you know, they didn't make it very easy for themselves. They chose to adapt Part 5 with the very, very detailed character models, which
and like backgrounds.
Yeah, okay, backgrounds are not too difficult, because tendentially backgrounds are produced by a different studio.
Yeah, but having to travel a lot, like in that part, they got to do the architecture and like
of
all
course.
The landmarks. It's always changing in that part, where it's not like a set area, kind of like more or less so like part 4 was.
Yeah, But I mean, I think we're gonna see difficulties like that in part 6 as well, because honestly, I don't see part 6 being anything other than straight up 39 episodes like part 4 and part 5 have been. Which is just, if you make anime like that, you're gonna run into problems. Like, weekly TV animes will always have to just choose a section of their series to look bad, because these things just collapse at some point. And honestly, I do agree the White Album didn't look as good as it could have, but the biggest dip probably was the Talking Head and Clash arc, which I'm totally fine with that one being adapted badly, because I don't really care about that one.
Yeah.
That seems like a strategical pick, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it very much is. It very much is kind of, okay, we have these many resources, we have these many people, we have this much time. It's not going to be enough. We have to cut corners somewhere. That's kind of always the creative process behind anime productions.
Yeah. If it's a White Album, with just like half it takes place in a car, and they were using CG cars from the start, so it wasn't gonna look good. Like, literally shot themselves in the foot, because Japan really hadn't mastered CG as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know about that specifically. Like the recent Lupin the Third movie that came out, that looks fantastic.
So good.
That's
what I said most studios.
Yeah,
I think there's a few, like, Studio Orange have really proven that they can excel at like any sort of visual. Like, if they want to do an entire anime in CG, they're the one that did Beastars, right? They did
Beastars. They did Land of Lustrous as well.
Yes, which two of my like recent favorites. Like Land of the Lustrous, personally, love that manga so much, and it was a really cool adaptation.
But then you look at like Berserk and like a lot of the Netflix CG anime.
Yeah. I mean, you can't escape those. But I mean, to be fair, with Part 5, David Pro kind of tried to do something new. Like they used what is it called? They used a software that basically automatically interpolates frames on like some sophisticated level, which is what they used whenever things like Gold Experience's life acceleration was on screen, which one time, and then the King Crimson time skips also use that technology to make them look different. You'll notice when Bucciarati's like in the skip time, he's weirdly fluid in like almost 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
They really did try to like they of course had to cut corners, but I think they really did try to give the best product imaginable, because of course the JoJo anime is less of the, advertisement that many animes kind of are. Like the old adage is an anime is just an ad for the manga, whereas JoJo, I feel like, is very much a celebration of like a cultural product that a vast majority of the populace in Japan enjoys and cherishes. So, they are very invested. I'm definitely sure that they will do their absolute best for Part 6. But of course, as I said, something's got to give. Like,
yeah.
I
have what do you guys think the color scheme for Jolene's going to be in the anime? Because that was the hot topic when Part 5, because everybody thought it was going to be the purple-blue outfit Giorno, and we got the pink.
Yeah.
I like the blue a lot, personally, but, I mean, I'm not really tied to any Jolene colors.
I think it's a bit of blue, but the black one from, like, Eyes of Heaven, I kind of think they might go with as well.
I don't know. I am personally thinking for blue, because isn't blue the one they used for, like, the official figurines? And they tend to be have a higher chance to be included in the anime. They don't have to, but in the past, I remember reading something like that the anime color scheme often tends to go for the figurine color schemes.
Yeah, I think just like Giorno was like, I think everybody believed it was like the blue one, and I'm not sure the official Giorno figure's pink. I don't think it is.
Oh, I don't know. As I said, this is something I read.
Bruno was also a good topic for that as well.
So going by the ones, I just did a quick Google search. The Medicos figures for Jolene, they do use the blue and with a blue color scheme with the green highlights. So I think that's I think you're right though. They have taken a lot of the figure colors.
What's the Giorno figure of that brand too? Just because I'm curious, because I'm pretty sure it's like the blue one, but
I'll check that out really quick.
I don't think
I believe
that one was
it was. I
Yeah,
believe it was
Pink
blue and
Jono
white.
kind of took me by surprise. I didn't even remember
Same.
that was a possible color scheme for him.
I didn't like it at first, and then it kind of grew on me.
Yeah, same. I think I would have preferred blue overall. At least that's what I thought at the beginning. And now I'm like more convinced on the pink. I think it worked well for what they did. But when Golden Wind ended and the illustrator for the eye catches made like that Twitter drawing where he had Journal in blue, I was like, man, we could have gotten that.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta buy the $300 Blu-ray to get the blue Jorno edition. That's how they get you.
I mean, did you see that there's a guy on YouTube that is mastering part 5 with Blue Journal?
Really?
That's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
It's a lot. I think he's managed like up to a half of episode 2, something like that.
I mean, you gotta respect the commitment at least.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That is ridiculous. But
I think a lot of that kind of stuff is like really good like editing practice too. Like if you're getting into that and that's like a passion project of yours, that's a good thing to dip your feet into.
hey man, they could have like do that the Blu-ray. I've heard recently that like the Persona 5 anime, the dub is gonna be on like a 300 or $400 box set,
The 300.
which is ridiculous.
Really?
If you want the dub of Persona 5 anime.
Wow.
Then again, why would you want the dub for a bad anime? I mean,
I know, right?
Yeah, I've
If you-
always
if
just
you
tried
buy
to steer clear
Persona
of the
animes in
Personas.
general.
mm.
I don't know what you're doing.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know anything about Persona. Everyone keeps yelling at me to play them.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, I bought Persona 4 now on Steam because of
Oh,
course.
nice.
Yeah, so actually, full disclosure, the only reason I bought Persona 4 was because Medi told me that the main character has lighting powers, and that's like my shit. So I was
Well,
like, cop.
yeah. It's like a starting power, sure.
Yeah,
Don't
the
tell
Persona
me
games are
Medi, not
great.
the bad guy, lied to me. Can't believe it.
Hey man, you can use whatever you want in Persona. I'm not gonna tell you how to play.
All right, lightning it is.
The Persona games are like some of my favorites. Of course, I'm a casual and I've only played 3 through 5.
We played the
But-
true Persona 1, 2, and 3 of 3, 4, and 5.
Oh,
But yeah,
I
I
see.
highly recommend them. They're games that like they took a little bit for me to get into. Like I started with 3, but once you hit that like magic point, it kind of nails like what I think part 4 nails the best, which is like this sort of slice of life town, but like you also have like the supernatural fun power element to it. That's like at night kind of, at least in the first game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
sounds
I don't
good.
know. I love part 4. Part 4 to me is like something that I wish to see that vibe carried over into like other media that I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm just looking for it too much, but
That bright aesthetic with like the town, like those bright towns hiding a darkness kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I personally am not super fond of part 4, but I definitely can see that is a quality that a lot of people are very fond of. Because it is definitely something that is not... It just hasn't been replicated very well in many, like, big popular things, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I always have respect for an arc or a section of a story that specifically could have only come from that author or that story. And part 4 kind of feels like that with Araki.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since he tried to recreate it now in part 8 in a way,
Try to recreate it but make it different at the same time, which is awesome.
Same, but different.
But yeah, just going to part 6, just like I didn't like part 6 that much, and that's like a thing people like get upset about, that I don't think part 6 is that great. Because like I think it has some really good highs and some really low lows, and I think those really lows hurt it. And I think when they're animated, I'm not sure if they're gonna be better or worse. Like I don't really like the whole maximum security arc. I'm not sure. Dragon Dream could be animated, make it a little bit better, but like still, like I think Jumpin' Jack Flash, I hope they kind of speed up, because I felt like in the manga that lasted like an eternity.
I think with the manga, it can be really like pacing in manga compared to anime can be like super different, and I'm wondering how. Like I really like part 6. It's, for me personally, it's probably one of my like, it's in the lower half of my JoJo parts if I were to rank them.
Yeah.
But it does have, I think, some of the highest highs. Like the for me, I'm really looking forward to Jailhouse Lock. Like that arc, I think is like such a fun use of a stand.
Sixth Sense, though.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do with the Sixth Sense joke.
That and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh God, yeah, no, Bohemian Rhapsody is gonna be like arguably the funniest thing to observe David Brokakaka, because there's just no way.
They're gonna have to like. I can't wait to go to the Disneyland with like the J, just like Disneyland. Where the fuck is Mikey?
or they do it like My Hero
Ricky
Academia,
Rat.
where in MHA they at one point they have a reference to Disney, and afterwards you have all the characters basically going, "Oh, don't sue us, please." So
it can't be like Charmin like Gintama like making a parody of it, obviously, or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do any of those references other than like maybe other David production like adaptations or a Rocky. Like, oh, Bao is over there fighting whoever Bao fought.
or of course stuff like
public domain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do want to see them beat the shit out of Fungo. Like that is kind of what I need in life.
Most disgusting. Like, I'm gonna see Rod's animated, which is gonna be the weirdest thing like ever.
Oh yeah. I think that's a reason why Part 6 kind of stumbles as much as it does. I feel it's out of all the parts, it's kind of the one where Araki flexes the bizarre part over his like actual vision of the story. Where sometimes things are just weird, where you're like, okay, does this have a purpose, or is it just because this is JoJo and you want it to be like JoJo?
Hey, look, snails.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for the whole snail plot point.
Oh,
it gave me a big like Junji Ito vibe, so I like that a lot.
Because it reminds you of Junji Ito shit, or like the episode of SpongeBob where they turn into snails.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
so I just kind of jumping into this. Are there any arcs? What are some of the arcs that you're like really anticipated and seeing adapted for whatever reason?
Foo Fighters.
The entire finale.
Yeah, the finale, that's actually probably the biggest one for me, because like how it's portrayed in the manga is I don't even know how they would do it in anime. Like I can't even comprehend. It must be like a huge job to try and figure that out.
I'm wondering, because we know Part 5 had like the anime original scenes that give more character to the Hitman team and like some other stuff, like Fugo when Narancia dies. So like, what are they gonna add? Maybe like actually like tease Giorno trying to get there, like unlike the manga did.
That's like, actually, I wouldn't expect that, to be honest. I must say,
it's like a can of worms. I think they probably just don't want to open.
Like,
yeah.
Is there anyone you're expecting them to expand like, what like in there at all? Like, do you have any thoughts on that? Was anime original stuff? Are they like?
I actually don't really know. I do wonder how they're gonna approach Pucci and the way like his character is structured, because I feel like we do get a lot of him in the manga, but a lot of it always felt kind of separated. Where you get instances of his character being there and then he just like disappears, does some villain things, and comes back. And I wonder,
very separated from them, which I guess is kind of the point, since he is just kind of just roaming around like the prison like that.
Yeah, but I do wonder how they're gonna expand on that. And other than that, I don't know. Maybe
even the flashback of him and Weather, just like, are they actually going to show like KKK members animated?
Oh god, that is actually going to be another really interesting thing, because
I mean,
also
they had,
to
like,
see the
guy
reaction
Nazis
to it
in part 2, so like, I mean, they could, but in this day and age, I don't think they should.
I mean, to be fair, the KKK is shown to be as disgusting as they are in real life. So it's I don't.
It's a rough track to go over, like especially now.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think it wouldn't be too big of an issue, specifically because the KKK are just assholes and monsters in that brief scene. So I do think it could end up being kept faithfully, because I mean, they have past part 2, they have rarely altered things to like a huge degree.
Yeah.
Like, most of their changes have been additive and not transformative, I feel.
Yeah.
From part 5, because that was the one that I had read the manga first and then saw the anime. That was like when I'd caught up. To me, like, it felt like they really didn't cut anything out. The few scenes they did cut out were these like really small, like, incidental jokes and like like 2 or 3 panels that just, I guess, didn't make sense to include. And like,
why were they watching Captain Tsubasa on the TV like they did in the manga?
Yeah. Or the 100 frogs thing where you see Narancho try and catch the frogs. Yeah, I mean, they mostly cut out small stuff like that. The one thing that really, really bothered me with the way they did part 5, and by really, really bothered me, I mean it was like a tiny nitpick, it's that they went through all the trouble to make all these extra Hitman Squad scenes, but then they did not give Risotto any kind of like extra little tidbit at the end. They didn't even include his canonically confirmed backstory that was included in the volume pages of part 5. They didn't even do that, and I'm like, that's kind of half-assing it. Like, obviously this is additional content and we should be grateful, and I am grateful, but if you're gonna go through the trouble of humanizing the Squadra characters, I feel like it's kind of a wasted opportunity to not also include something that's canonical, just not drawn, you know?
Sympathize these mass murders.
Oh no.
I wonder if that was like a time constraint thing, because in that little, so I referred to it earlier, they had that stream where they interviewed like the 2 producers from David Pro and Giorno's voice actor.
One was from Warner Brothers, Japan.
Yeah. And they went into a little bit into the scenes they added with La Squadra and how they went through all these considerations, saying like, oh, in that one scene, we made sure that we gave Pesci milk because he's childish and he's not really an adult yet. And so, yeah. And it seems like they definitely had all these considerations, and it would be really interesting to see how much was on the cutting room floor of like Risotto backstory, because I think Risotto is such a fan favorite character. They probably really wanted to flush him out more.
Yeah, because I mean,
it's my favorite fight.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, you have the other, the other. Well, I don't want to call him fan favorite, but the other like enigmatic bad guy of the part, Diavolo, who just gets, you know, so much additional stuff given to him. Mm-hmm. It feels kind of weird that Risotto had this additional stuff like just waiting for them to animate it, and it just didn't. It's just kind of odd. And of course, the other thing that I'm kind of, I wouldn't say disappointed, just surprised it didn't expand on is the end, like the actual ending of part 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because we were doing it, recording episode like arc by arc with the 5 anime, and we were wondering if they were actually going to end with Rolling Stone or do it earlier. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of they actually surprisingly kind of did that at the very end as well, and it just like it's still I always still feel Rolling Stone is just always weird part of part 5.
I don't know. Yeah. I really love Rolling Stones. I love its placement, like unapologetically.
I was like, because like when I read it, I was like, did I miss something, or like was this supposed to be earlier? Like, why am I getting this arc now?
Yeah. When we put the out, we got so many comments of people that were like vehemently defending where Rolling Stones was and how they really like it. And I think it is just kind of like a love it or hate it thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because it's conceptually just a very odd thing to do. It's essentially have an entire story revolve around this specific idea of like opposing fate and fighting against fate, and then just have this little blip shit little arc at the end that's just like, oh, by the way, fate is undefeatable, but you just gotta try anyways. Bye. It's like it's definitely a very, very weird approach, but I kind of love it because I love weird shit like that.
I was also like, I really like the Rolling Stones, and I was like, this is what they get for their band name, Stan, a rock. Damn it.
I think I did enjoy it more. Like, I liked it more seeing it animated out, and it was also kind of cool that the stand user gets, I forget his name, because he's only in like that one bit.
God, what's his name? Jesus.
But he gets like such focus there, and it feels really cool to like see that.
Yeah, I mean, what was his name? Scolipi?
Oh, yes, it is Scolipi.
Yeah, he gets like a bit of extra dialogue, and I do think like Rolling Stones, works better animated, just because, as you said earlier, the pace in animation and in like film is just so different, and so much easier digestible than manga. Whereas manga, you have to choose to focus on every single panel. You have to choose to read every single word, and that automatically slows everything down. But yeah, I really love Rolling Stones. I understand why you might have an issue with it, or why you didn't enjoy it as much. But I personally just really like the idea of Araki just kind of completely flipping the book right at the end, especially when thinking about how it must have been reading this weekly as like a Japanese teenager in 2001. Because you also need to remember that the final chapters, what you read like on wherever you read them, are often the volume versions. But when the chapters came out in Shonen Jump, some of them were like 3 pages long. Because the final like stretch of Golden Wind, for whatever reason, has really short chapters in the original Shonen Jump releases. So you're just like reading Diavolo get murdered, and you anxiously wait for your next 3 pages next week, and it's just Mista talking about cannibalism.
It's weird.
I didn't realize that. That's really interesting. That's like, I haven't gone back too much and looked at his like publishing schedule. I know that he was pretty, like, it's, people always like to, they have like charts and they compare like oh look, Togashi, he missed like a year at one point without publishing, whereas like
2 years at this point.
Yeah, actually yes, unfortunately. But like I know Araki was pretty consistent with his Shonen Jump publishing until he moved over and made it a monthly series.
Yeah,
but that's really fascinating. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I definitely recommend you do is check out what each chapter is called between the different versions, because what we know is, of course, every like chapter is named after the arc it's in, right? But back when he was still in Shonen Jump, every chapter had a unique name. So you wouldn't have stuff called, White Album Part 1, White Album Part 2, White Album Part 3. Instead, they came out as Determination, Can They Win? A Final Fight for Resolve, and whatnot.
We saw that kind of recently in JoJo in I can't remember exactly when. It was like
The Wonder of You, and then it was like,
yeah, initially it was called something else. The arc was called something else, but once the Takobans came out, they renamed it to The Wonder of You, and then it's like a whole, it was crazy when that came out. Everyone was like, oh my god, what is this new reference that we haven't seen before? But it's because obviously I've only been reading up to date with JoJo for the past like 3 years, so I haven't noticed that nearly as much, but I really want to like pour back through old chapters now.
Yeah, I mean, looking up the old like original Shonen Jump publications are fascinating. For example, one of my favorite little factoids, the 7-page Muda was not 7 pages in the original release.
What?
It was 4 pages. Araki added a full double spread and then one additional page in the volume releases.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's like that sort of stuff where it's like so cemented, like, oh, of course it's a 7-page Muda, but no, when it came out, it was the 4-page Muda.
It's funny. I wonder if that's more of like a, I feel like you see that kind of frequently in Japanese publication where, like, I'm not as aware of that in American at least, or Western, but the thing that I'm thinking of is Yusuke Murata with One Punch Man.
Yeah.
He just keeps like going back and like redrawing older arcs. Like, I don't know what the numbers we're on now, but he went back.
So he didn't put a new chapter in 2 months, but he went back and redid an entire like fight from like the chapter's like at 131 right now, I think, and he went back and did like an entire arc in like the 1 teens.
Yeah, it was at least like 2 years ago that this arc originally came out. And I remember when that arc came out, he even did redesigns like a few weeks later. If I don't know if you read One Punch Man.
No,
at
not
all.
really.
Okay, but yeah, if anyone's playing at home, it's the Phoenix Man arc.
The fight's completely different too, because I read the recent redrawn, and it's like very different.
Yeah, I just find that so funny that I don't know, it's like a perfectionist mindset almost of like, oh, I have to go back and tweak these things and redesign this mech and blah blah blah.
Well, people said it's might be to match up something that happened in the webcomic, or like to be more in line with the webcomic. That's I heard a thing or two about, but
Yeah, that's because I think One Punch Man's also in like a very special situation that it technically is a remake of something that is a lot further along. But yeah, that's just when you said that Araki had gone back, that's the first thing that jumped in my mind.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go back to like the older parts of JoJo, you will often find like the most common thing is that it has different title pages for the Shonen Jump version. Like either a different panels put first so they can make a nice title page, or even like a wholly new illustration that later got dropped for the volume release. Like there are cases like that. There was what was it that it Fanfaluca, the Italian convention that Araki went to last year. I think he showed like 1 or 2 pages that were supposed to be title pages and then never made it into the actual final volume release and were only in the Shonen Jump release. For I think seem to remember something like the man in the mirror fight.
Wow, that's so crazy. It's just, I don't know. I'm so fascinated by this because I think what you're saying, like how things become so cemented, like the 7-page Muda, you have this idea of everything coming out fully formed, but it's actually kind of this several additions, subtractions, things can be tweaked. I think one of the biggest examples is the edited, like the controversy at the end of the part 3 manga, where they included, I think it was a mosque that was in the background of one shot, that like Dio standing on a mosque, and there was this whole like controversy over that, so they had to go back and change it so it was like a telephone pole or something. It's very strange.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? In part 1, when Zeppeli dies, the original like Shonen Jump version had the thing where he says, "Oh, Jonathan, you're like the family to me I never had." Yeah. Whereas in the re-released version, he says, "You remind me of my son," Which is...
yeah, 'cause you gotta make that that tie
canonical change. Yeah.
Exactly. But the funniest thing is then you have the dub, and I think I'm not gonna go over and catch my manga, but I feel like some of the English localizations actually kept the error in where he says, "I don't have." I'm pretty sure the dub at least says, "I don't have family."
I mean, for all they could say, like, "Oh, he was just lying to him" or something like that. They could make that excuse.
Yeah, or just be up front and be like, "Okay, like part 2 wasn't planned yet. Oh well."
He's Zeppeli, he's adopted. But still has the family curse.
At the end of the day, it's all just about making the next part happen, and if it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, like, oh well. Like,
yeah.
So part 6.
Yeah. Speaking of weekly experiences, can you imagine reading the end of part 6 weekly?
No.
Nah. I said that with like part 7 as well. Just like there's stuff like at the end where like reading it weekly would just be like the most suspenseful thing. And if it's weekly, yeah, but like especially monthly stuff now, I think like it'd be even
it's brutal.
Worse.
Yeah,
it's brutal now, honestly, for keeping up with JoJolion. But honestly, being able to blow through the ending of Stone Ocean, and in part 7 too, was just so. I don't know. I was the edge of my seat the whole time. I couldn't have done it for what it would have been like. For part 7, it would have been like a year or so that the finale takes place over.
That's a crazy thing. Also, because you need to remember that when part 6 ended and part 7 started, part 7 wasn't immediately like identifiable as a JoJo part. It was just Araki's next work. So
I wouldn't call it part 7.
Yeah, I mean the internet obviously at the time wasn't developed much. It was like 2007 or 8, but man, I would love to have seen like forum posts at the time.
I know.
Oh my god! I just like remember and just like the one big reveal at the end of part 7. I'm just wanting like the weekly reaction of like a thread of that chapter specifically would have been like literally amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few years back, there was a comedian started this one podcast called, it was like an X-Files podcast. The guy who did it was Camille Nanjiani. And I wasn't even a fan of X-Files, but I was watching through the show, going through this, and part of his podcast was he would go and find these like old message boards from the early 90s of like the reactions that people had when the episode came out, and like seeing him read those and like And it's such a different time period too, because like back then, if you compare it to like JoJo, it's like you'd have to make sure you go buy the manga, and like there's like a whole like tactile aspect to it, and you don't just get it delivered to you. So it would have been so crazy to see like how people were reacting to it and like message boards and stuff. But I mean, that's all in Japanese.
Especially how like early translated scans ended up in JoJo history.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Like Duang and the Part 5 translation and
honestly though, the Duang is better than the Part 5 translation. The Duang is at least so obviously bad that no one's gonna take them seriously. With Part 5, the translations are like subtly bad.
Yeah.
So that people are like, oh yeah, these are like competent translations, even though they misunderstand all of the characters and the entire plot, and it's like, oh. Paul is kind of about something completely different, you know.
Small boy's name is Kuang.
Yeah, the Part 5 one, it created this whole meme of people not understanding how King Crimson works. Like, when you actually, I feel like when you read the manga, it's pretty clear. Like
if you read just the Duang, like, wow, these guys are really like throwing around like the R word, the hard R. Wow.
Yeah.
It is really funny. Honestly,
what does he mean that I am wood?
I am the fucking strong.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's my favorite one. Yeah, I am the fucking strong.
But I mean, man, the Duang scans are just such a funny story because like everything from the way they actually sound to their origin story through just the memeing around them is just so perfect. I love that. Chew, exactly.
You can't watch that, like, Roger, read that scene now
without thinking about it.
Yeah, without thinking about like what a beautiful Duang.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone's made a video just explaining the whole story. I'm sure there has been, but Sam and I went to a convention. What was it? Anime USA?
AUSA, I think.
Yeah, this was a few years back, and the panel was actually hosted by I forget his name. It was like Joey JoJo's Wacky Trip or something, and Kira Buckland. Which was super cool. But they went through like the whole story and how it was like. It's pretty. The details are a little nebulous, but it was like I had never heard that it was like this Chinese guy basically who he just passionate for JoJo, and he did his best.
Yeah.
And the guy felt really sorry and just released them anyway. Oh, it's great. God bless that man wherever he is.
Yeah, that'd be like the white whale to find and interview that guy and see.
He'd
like
literally be like an icon. He'd be the Tommy Wiseau for a JoJo. Like literally. Unfortunately, Part 6 doesn't have any of that kind of meme like history with translations.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I think Part 6 will become one of the more memed ones once it's actually in motion. Just because it has so much weird shit going on in it, like more so than the previous parts, I would reckon.
Like Jolene's like women, Araki writing women dialogue.
Jolene like naked on all fours, yeah.
They're talking about masturbation and like all that.
The whole thing with peeing, how in zero gravity you can't control your bladder, which just is not true at all.
That's a line I can easily skip.
I've intentionally not mentioned him until now, but one of my favorite arcs or like fights, whatever you want to call it, in Part 6 is the Yo-Yo Ma arc, and I feel I feel like that's going to be a big one that people latch onto as like, what is this weird thing?
I think if Yo-Yo Ma's voice is very good, I think it can go a long way.
I imagine him sounding kind of like a Pesci, like using that kind of voice.
I always think like Shingeki, like just like that like goblin kind of voice.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, if they can get like a little animated clip of Yo-Yo Ma being goofy with a goofy voice actor, they've won. That'll become a meme for like a month, 2 months, maybe a year. Like,
I'm looking really forward to Marilyn Manson. That is like the one, like the most like fun arc I can think. And the biggest meme is when the subtitles are going to be flaccid pancake.
Yes. Yes.
That's actually another thing I'm excited. I'm excited to see some of the other funny English versions of the stand names.
I can't wait for Fred Durst jokes and Fred Durst edits of just like his head like on like these like zombies.
What you said, Dennis, actually kind of got my mind racing about like being able to like take a clip of Yo-Yo Ma and make a meme out of it. I think that honestly is something that anime studios have kind of been learning the power of lately. Like, when I first noticed it was a couple of YouTubers were really talking about that. What was that one little sister anime? Shit, what's it called?
Air Manga Sensei.
Manga Sensei. Yeah.
Air Manga Sensei. Like for the whole ending sequence, they had like one dude animate all of it, and it's just like this very quirky dance that's like something that you can so easily just clip out of the episode and put on YouTube. And even with Kaguya-sama too, like I think they did the same thing of
the
like
Chica dance. It was like a huge meme and still is.
Yeah, like just if we can create like something easily like showable to other people, we'll get so much more attention. So I think that's probably I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of focus in that.
It's like what happened to Roundabout was just like that blew up.
Yeah.
Crazy. And but none of the ED. I think the closest they got was Freaking You because of like.
There was such like a tonal disconnect. Like nobody was expecting Freaking You.
Like everybody dies, Freaking You plays.
Okay, at the very least, it never played after death. They did avoid that one because they changed it, of course.
Everybody was like waiting on the edge of their seat, like Bruno gets like donutted, and then Freaking You starts playing.
Every time I close my eyes,
it's so good. Like, do you have any guesses what you think Part 6 will be? Like the first one,
the ending,
like it might be something more lighthearted, and then go for a more serious song for like the second half of the Part 6 anime.
Oh, for the
I get a feeling No Doubt's gonna be like the ED song for it.
I don't know. I'm some part of me is really hoping for like girls just want to have fun.
That'd be really good. Then just have female Anasui as like the character model for him.
Or like
I think like Don't Speak is gonna be, or like it just feels like a No Doubt song is going to be like if they actually Gwen Stefani actually like signs off on it.
Yeah. I don't know. For the second half, I'm imagining like the ideal thing would be What a Wonderful World, but
yeah,
that could be the second half though. Like,
that'd be so fucking cool.
Because how they went from Freaking You to like Modern Crusaders, or like Walk Like an Egyptian to Last Train Home, like go from like something fun, like okay, this is great, and then just go like okay, now it gets sad.
Yeah. Although one thing, like now that I think about it, that I really want to see is for the ending of the second half to be Rocket Man. I feel like I feel like that has the right vibe, where it's like
I don't feel Elton would give away like a song right to it.
I don't know.
Even though Elton is a JoJo like character, it's in outfits.
I feel like you hear that song so often, though. Maybe I don't know if the licensing would be an issue there.
I don't know. I feel like Elton it would be weird, but who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of have to wait and see, because I always thought that they would have a huge issue just with King Crimson's entire thing. Like they wouldn't even have to
design.
That they would have to actually even change the name in the Japanese version because of it. But then I found out King Crimson, the band, knows about it and is super cool with it. So
yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Worried
I
for
love
nothing.
that. I love when the band actually like know about it and just like, oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Also, speaking of memes, are we ready for everyone to call Anasui a simp?
Do you think they're gonna have the first appearance will have the female Anasui, and then the next episode is just gonna be like the male Anasui?
I think so.
I want to invoke my professional opinion here. I have no fucking clue.
Like I love femme Anasui design so much, but like Anasui is a character I'm not too big on.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably like my
same.
least favorite character out of the main crew in Part 6.
Yeah, I do think he would be ripe for some like expansion and like extra screen time and banter. But man, if they do female Anasui, they almost definitely are going to like address the fact that he changes, like whether it's by his stand or by some other means, because
Diver Down goes in there and can just move around his own like his own DNA or own chromosomes.
His own DNA. Oh my god!
You can move the chromosome. Yeah, I don't know, something. Diver Down can do whatever it wants. Stands can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I think like one point away from them doing that is when Trish was introduced in the anime, they just gave her regular design, whereas she had like a whole different initial design.
Her hair was different.
So maybe from like a consistency standpoint, they might keep him like regular, but
because you know how the one illustrator or the one artist did splashes, I can see him just doing like splash art of just Anasui and Femme Anasui like back to back for like a week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it would be cool if we got to see Femme Anasui, but honestly, I think they're just gonna go the road of least resistance and least like issue and just do like straight man Anasui.
Yeah.
Manasui.
Straight man. Straight simp Anasui.
Yeah. I would like to see him given more development too, or like at least I think banter is like probably the best way, because there's some funny scenes with him and Weather. Like when they become when Weather becomes a fuckboy real quick.
I played that when him and Weather become fuck buddies.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of that's kind of the thing I missed the most with part 5, and I wish they had included as well. Although that would have been a big departure, of course, from the manga. Is just more time for the characters to just kind of banter and chill, which I guess is where like the part 4 influence comes back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, just allow us to spend some time with these people, which of course in part 5 was not possible at all because it was so fast paced and it was
go. When you first meet the team, and then like maybe in flashbacks and Rolling Stones a little bit have that, but that was like what until the end.
Yeah, that's why I will always say I wish we got like one extra little arc with Bruno's gang before they go on the mission to retrieve Trish and stuff. Yeah,
that'd be funny. But great, like how Rocky does the Rohan like one shot. Like he could probably do like a part 5 like gang going on mission like short story of them encountering weird shit as well, or supernatural phenomenon.
It would be such a treat to see the gang back together
in the
just for one shot.
In the newest art style as well.
Yeah, but hey, being frustrated with not enough part 5, that's kind of what I do. When part 5 ended and I remembered like how kind of abrupt that ending is, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna write my own epilogue to this and publish it.
My own fan fiction.
It is. Chapter 1 and 2 are out actually.
Nice.
Oh really? I haven't. I'm not aware of this.
Very few people are. I haven't updated it in like a while because of course we kind of hit a pandemic.
Yeah. I'd love to check that out though, and I can drop a link too if you're interested in sharing it.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll send it to you later.
Does Trish get to do something?
Not yet, but the chapter I'm drafting right now is Mista Trish team fight.
Thank God.
Oh, that
Thank you.
Awesome.
I am a Trish stan, so that's good.
Yeah, no, I mean that's kind of a thing that I, as someone who is like big on kind of JoJo Part 5 specifically, I am very aware of a lot of like fan creations regarding it, and it really is a shame that characters like Trish just get sidelined so much.
Yeah, and a lot of the Part 5 like one shots are all light novels like that we actually get for it. Both one involving Fugo.
I really do enjoy Purple Haze Feedback though. I did listen to that as an audiobook and found it to be it's kind of weird because it really isn't like a Rocky, so it's not like his style.
Yeah,
but even so, have you read it or listened to it?
Yes, I have. I actually which audiobook did you listen to? The one with only a narrator or the one with voice actors?
The voice, I think it was just one narrator. He did have sound effects though.
Okay, because if it's the other version, then I'm in it.
Oh.
I'm Saleh for like his 2 lines.
Oh shit!
I forgot. Yeah, he pops up in that. He's still alive.
I wish I would have known that.
Yeah, he just appears to fucking die.
Yeah, and now I die.
Yeah.
Farewell.
It's always interesting to see what other authors do, like with the JoJo formula, because of course you have Over Heaven, Dio's diary. Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
I'm only aware of From Eyes of Heaven, so.
Yeah, but Over Heaven is an actual published light novel that's supposed to be Dio's diary, and it's written by Nishio Ishin, who is the writer of Monogatari.
Wow.
And it's a nightmare to read in English because, of course, Nishio Ishin is not easily translated, but it's super intriguing. Like, it characterizes Dio in a really interesting way, and while it isn't generally considered canon, I've kind of just decided it's canon for me.
A lot of people done that with Purple Haze Feedback. They just consider that canon.
Yeah, it
So
feels like
the fighting games have taken that as canon and like made Fugo's fighting style branch off from Purple Haze Feedback.
Yeah. I just with Purple Haze Feedback, I'm always like, especially Mista and Giorno for the few scenes that they're in, they just, I don't know, they don't feel right to me. Like something about how aggressive both of them are like.
If anything, Giorno's a mob boss now, so he probably has to.
Yeah, specifically like, not to spoil anything, but the final scene with Giorno, like the finale of it, feels like a little weird. I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, Mista is the guy that to shoot a stand with a gun and thinking that would work. So I mean, Mista being aggressive is not too out of hand.
I think to like say some nice things about Purple Haze Feedback though, I think like some of the stands in there are legitimately like as interesting, if not like more so than some of the better ones that Araki's made, I think.
Yes. That's definitely the case. I would definitely agree with that.
Doesn't Araki actually went back and like did the art for like the stands or like the cover art for some of these light novels as well, including Purple Haze Feedback?
Yeah,
I believe Purple Haze Feedback was like a contest, and Araki illustrates all the art inside of it,
which is awesome.
Yeah, because Purple Haze Feedback, Over Heaven, and Jorge Horstar were the 3 novels that were chosen for that contest, and they all include that sort of stuff. And that's the thing, they're fan novels. Whereas you have stuff like the Part 3 and the Part 4 light novels that were specifically commissioned by Araki's estate.
What about the one where Cars ends up in the Komodo Friends world and he like befriends them all? That Dojin's not canon?
No, I'm sorry. But I mean, you can have Jorge Joestar where Cars duplicates himself 36 times.
That one became a meme where me and Jim's favorite meme from that's only for us that people like is NYPD Blue just being a fat cop with a gun. It's like the funniest thing. It's like the funniest creation I've ever fucking seen next to Diesel.
Yeah. One of these days I'm going to read through Jorge Joestar. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's just a giant can of worms to go through.
Yeah, it's just it's so weird. Like
even in JoJo weirdness, it's weird.
Yeah, because the thing is, right? You look at the other winner of the contest. You have Purple Haze Feedback, which is beloved and generally accepted as, if not canon, at least pseudo canon.
Yeah.
Because of its good quality.
It expands on something that doesn't take place in the middle of it. It's at the very end, like an epilogue, and it's fine.
Yeah, and then you have Over Heaven, which is, while often considered not canon, because of course Araki didn't touch it, and it isn't like Purple Haze Feedback where it like expands, but rather you have just this sort of natural bridge between Part 3 Dio and Part 6 Dio that I think most people who've read the novel kind of appreciate. And you just have George Joestar, which is just this fucking train wreck.
Oh, this is what happened after Part 6, but like it's entirely new continuity, but here's some characters from that other old continuity, and the stands are now TV shows and movies, and
Funny Valentine had 2 sons named Funnier Valentine and Funniest Valentine.
Yeah, there's just Part 7 stuff in there too. It's just like a mess.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. I mean,
and like there is that gap of Dio between like until where he gets in Part 3 and when he gets out of the coffin, and that's very interesting to like kind of read upon too.
Yeah, like one thing that I really enjoy about Nisio Ishin's version of Dio is that he makes Dio's mother a huge part of his like characterization.
Yeah, because we don't really get anything other than him and Dario.
Yeah, and it like it takes like the little lines we get in Phantom Blood, like, oh, you drove mother to an early grave and you sold her dresses to buy more booze, and like really expands on like the psychological trauma that left on Dio, and like how it warped his worldview,
and what drove him to kill his father.
Yeah, and like it also like kind of headcanons that it was his mother that implanted the idea of reaching heaven into him. That she was like, oh, good people go to heaven, and then Dio for the rest of his life is like, what does going to heaven even mean?
I am going to be the final boss in a video game on PlayStation 4. That's what he said.
I'm going to be the final fight of one of the most disappointing video games of all time.
Disappointing JoJo video games.
No, man. Eyes of Heaven, the fact that came out with no like couch multiplayer.
I know. No, it's being a 2v2 and no choice to be a 1v1 and being a 3D arena game is.
It's just
I thought
crazy.
All-Star Battle had a cool like style of being like a 2D 3D fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was pretty cool, and then it's the cool thing about Eyes of Heaven were the team up moves, where it's just like the coolest thing to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I got really upset that Trish and Diablo didn't have a father-daughter team up move, where every other father-child or parent and child did. I was really annoyed by that.
Yeah, but hey, we got Giorno and Dio. That's all I needed.
That one
I
is
love
hype
that
as
so
hell.
much.
Yeah.
That one and the two
I
Dios.
love the Dio Dio combo is like fucking awesome.
Mm.
I wish these went back and added more of those. I would like easily pay for those.
I just wish we would get another JoJo game, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
I mean, no, they were in Jump Force. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We
of
had
course.
Dio and Jotaro, and we're going to have one more, which probably will be Giorno.
Yeah, of course. Yay. Jump Force.
Don't you want Dio the Crush Bakuga with like a road roller with Gon just watching in the background?
I mean, that actually does sound hype as fuck. I just wish it didn't look like garbage.
Kurapika's face I would think of when I think of Jump Force.
I just think of like the first reveal they had at like E3, and Luffy is standing on like an American flag, and it's just like the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
We all know the most American Shonen Jump character is Luffy.
Yeah.
Who's based off of a Brazilian style or a Brazilian person.
I mean, honestly, like the thing that I always think about when I think Jump Force is fucking All Might's face and his teeth. Just how fucking toothy and aggressive he looks, even when he smiles.
I always just think Kurapika's weird ass face.
Mm-hmm.
All I can think about. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I think the My Hero character is so weird looking in that, and for some reason Boruto's there too.
Yeah.
And there's Black Clover. There's just those weird, like it's just like one Black Clover character.
Yeah,
it's the
but
weirdest
then
assortment of characters.
yeah, but then they don't have Demon Slayer, which is currently the best-selling manga in Shonen Jump. It's like
It literally started and ended while Jump Force was happening and didn't get a single character. Unless like the author was like, "Don't put my character into that game. I don't want it there."
I mean, I'd relate to that.
Aren't they making a Demon Slayer game, or didn't it release?
Yeah,
like...
they're making 2 Demon Slayer games, a mobile one and a PS4 one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, is CyberConnect doing it? The people who did like the Naruto. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean CyberConnect, the studio that does every anime game basically.
Even though, from what I got from what I watched Demon Slayer, it's like a huge crime for like them to be fighting against each other. So like I'm not sure like it's gonna be fine.
I mean, I think it's mostly going to be because I don't think it's going to be an arena battler and more like an arena like hack and slash, from what I've understood.
I don't know. As CyberConnect, it could go either way.
Yeah,
because they'd have One Piece beat 'em up games, not like the Warrior games, but like they have like,
Burning Blood.
Burning Blood's not great, but they had like a open world like RPG one where you only play as Luffy.
Oh
like,
yeah, World Seeker.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that one.
I'm not even sure that's CyberConnect, but still, there's so many games. I like the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, but like everything else not too big.
Yeah, I mean honestly, apart from the Ninja Storm games and the Pirate Warrior games,
that's Koei Tecmo though doing the
yeah I know,
games.
but just in general, like aside from those, like good anime games are really really hard to come by. Like
Budokai, Budokai 3, Tenkaichi.
Oh damn! Yeah, we only have to go back a decade. then it's good.
Fighters is that's just what's it called? Arc System being awesome, but
Fighters is like it feels like an anomaly though. It's like
they do have a team of Gokus versus Goku. You can actually do with all different characters is terrible.
Well, okay, yeah, I wasn't thinking about Fighters. That's true. Fighters is good.
But those are the big ones, and at least like the big ones have at least one good game in their series.
Mm-hmm.
And you think of like the popular games like Demon Slayer probably, and like Attack on Titan got like a Koei Tecmo game, and I think Black Clover got a game too.
Yeah.
And Bleach got a game. I can't remember if Bleach had a good one or not though, because I wasn't into Bleach.
Nah, me neither. But Full Metal Alchemist even had a game that was like totally passable.
and
I think like when you're younger, you like your standards for that kind of thing are a little less like developed. So I know when I was younger, like the Dragon Ball Z, all the Dragon Ball Z games that I played, I loved just because I was like, oh, all these characters that I love looking at and punching as.
It had some weird stuff too, but like, I don't know. Then Naruto has some good fight. Even the PS2 like Ultimate Ninja games were really good on PlayStation 2. Even though like they made some weird ass OCs or like what if characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like there was one like Naruto was trained by Mike Guy and he just wearing a green suit, or like they had so Sakura was so useless that she did not have a real super other than her fake imaginary mind avatar to punch you because she was so useless, and it wasn't until she did something in a movie that's not really like canon that they made that her super. It's just so funny that like some of the pulls they have to do, like even in JoJo games they had to make Fugo off of Purple Haze feedback because he didn't have much to do in the actual manga.
I mean, oh man.
Like, I mean, oh my god, the Part 5 video game where you play as Ponarf in the wheelchair and you have to like hit him with the wheelchair.
I really want to play that game. It looks so interesting.
That game is super fun. It was the very first game I streamed. It's a lot of fun. It's honestly, like, it might actually be the best JoJo game. Like, no cap, because
it looks super cool.
Yeah, it's super polished as well. Like, it's just a series of basically puzzles disguised as boss battles and you win the puzzles by knowing what happens in the manga, which is kind of basic, but just the amount of thought that goes into some of this stuff is just very cool. So
weird. Just anime games are weird. Whole like when they had the crossover, like even Evangelion had fucking video games too.
And 64 games, yeah.
And 64. They even I'm not sure if you know about this, Jim. They had a Monster Hunter crossover in like Monster Hunter 3, where like one monster was an angel.
Really?
One monster was like a Brachydios who was like a punching dinosaur with like an Eva.
Yes. The Eva Brachydios that has like the purple green highlights on him.
Yeah, you look up Eva Brachydios and like Angel Gore.
Like Gore, like.
Yeah, it's just like the irate gamer, Jim. Yes.
Oh wow.
That's Boars.
I feel like Monster Hunter has had some really funny crossovers.
They
like,
had
I know
a
they
Demon
did,
Slayer
like,
crossover on like a mobile game too.
They did the
Witcher.
Peace Walker had a whole like Monster Hunter crossover thing.
Yeah. Witcher, World Final Fantasy.
World had a Witcher. They had FF14. They had
Resident Evil now.
Resident Evil. Yeah, you get the handler to be Mr. X, which is great.
Yep, you could fight a dragon that turns you into a zombie, which is actually an advantage because you regenerate health.
I love Vol, but I hated that fight. God,
I haven't actually done I've stopped doing the collaboration events. I feel like they're cool, but if it's not about something I care about, I kind of don't want to bother.
Yeah, I can see it, but it'd be really cool if they did something like just do promotion of just having like the monsters from like Eva. Like if the Eva movie ever comes out, the newest one, just do that event again because Brachydios is in there and just make like another angel into another monster.
You're very, very optimistic.
I know.
Movies coming out.
We're only getting the update coming out this week, and then like next week fall is gonna be another monster, but I don't know.
Wow,
yeah, I mean,
Ava was supposed to come out by now.
Hmm?
I think the Ava movie was supposed to have come out by now if the coronavirus hadn't happened.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be real. The fact that there is no final movie is the actual ending of Evangelion. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla is the final Evangelion movie.
Pretty much, honestly.
But yeah, I've been kind of, just to quickly finish up on Monster Hunter, I'm kind of actually also waiting on just that new update to drop on Thursday so I can get back into it.
Oh, me and my hunting squad are just like trying to debate, like we have to make new builds. Like I need to be water, you need to be fire. Like
yeah.
We're all like freaking out over it.
I'm gonna be so fucking tense because my hunting buddy is in Croatia right now. I don't know when he's gonna be able to come back.
I may have to recruit you then. Because we need all the help for that dragon, for Elatrion.
Elatrion, as they say it in the trailer.
I can't pronounce shit, so it's fine.
I mean,
I have no context for any Monster Hunter things.
I tried to get you in, you weren't too.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it for whatever reason.
Oh well, it's kind of a very specific kind of thing that you either kind of get into or you don't, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Like-
you did have a little fun with the Kinsect glaive, but you were flying around a lot.
Yeah, that was the most fun, was just like doing acrobatics, jumps and stuff.
That's cool. One of my friends picked up the Kinsect recently, and he's just he's been longsword his entire life, and then he picked it up recently, and now he's just like, anyone who doesn't play Kinsect glaive has no right. And I'm like, okay.
I used switch axe, and then I picked up gun lance, and I'm just like, I just want to make stuff go boom.
I used to be a dual blades main for most of my hunting tenure, and then in this most recent playthrough, I was like, okay, let's try something else.
I used the fish dual blades. You smack people with fish.
Now you can hit them with like beers. Did you see that?
With the ears?
Beers.
Oh,
You can
beers,
get
yeah,
beer-
it's all the kegs, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I want my switch axe to have a fun thing. Let me have fun with something.
I mean, okay, the switch axe gets shafted most of the time. Like, let's
That
be real.
and the hunting horn gets some cool, unique like weapons, but that's just by like design, not like the fun shit. Because even the new monster, the longsword's getting a scythe, and I'm just like, I want a scythe for my switch axe.
Aw.
Give me some cool Bloodborne like weapons that transform.
I mean, okay, to be fair, I think Alatreon is gonna have unique weapons for every single thing.
Yeah, I showed pictures of like the Monster Hunter 3 ones. I'm just like, it still looks like a switch axe, like every other switch axe.
Aw.
I know.
All right, just going back to
Going back
are
to
you
the
sure?
actual
Are you
topic.
sure?
Yes. So you mentioned how, or I forget who said it, but someone said that like all of Demon Slayer pretty much like happened during like very recently. Like Demon Slayer just had like this big anime, and the manga just ended. Like, and I think it's like so crazy that at least the authors were able to end the series at a point they wanted and weren't like too pressured to continue.
People say
going.
the pacing's the pacing's a little fast in Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think probably we only saw like I think the first season in the anime. I wasn't too big on it.
Yeah, I thought it was very pretty. I have so much respect for the production of that show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks gorgeous. But yeah, I don't know if like I would ever pick up the manga, but I just think it's really cool that, because I think it was cool they were able to end it when they did, because one of the things with like Death Note is like the famous example of how they had this opportunity to end it, but the anime was getting really big at the time, and there was all this like push for them to keep going, and then they later pretty much admitted they regretted having it go on as long as they did.
You didn't want to end it after L?
No. But I mean, okay, to be fair, I think Demon Slayer just kind of got that perfect storm where
Yeah.
it deals with a topic that Japan is crazy about, which is demon slaying.
Little sister?
Also that. It has that sort of kind of cutesy modern shonen aesthetic while also having the old era like edge to it. And the only thing holding it back was the mediocre artwork of the manga, which got fixed in the anime. So
Yeah. I think the one thing we're talking about is just the craze, like me and Jim talked about the craze of like the shonens, where like Demon Slayer did that, like My Hero had that, especially when like the All for One fight, it blew up like crazy. Like
yeah, or the Todoroki fight in the sports festival, like that was
that
arguably
one
even more.
especially too, where you see
Yeah.
nothing but like Bakuga and like Shoto like people. It's so funny, like I feel like Deku compared to like those two are like it's like the least popular one.
Oh, don't worry, I'm constantly swinging my fists at air because people just don't love my lovable green boy as much as I do.
I'm just like, I don't care about your Rabbity. Give me more Mina. I want more Alien Queen. Give me that. I will consume the product if it is.
But honestly, I feel like that's one of the greatest things about Hiroaka is just like there's something for everyone. Like you have such a large cast, and
Yeah.
like even if none of them are like, you know, these Shakespearean tales of humanity or whatnot, all of them are at least like enjoyable.
But we've been going through like Hunter x Hunter, like I've been like seeing like every side character gets a moment to shine or like a centered like part, and I'm just like, and I go back and I go through like My Hero, I'm like, everybody just needs Deku or Bakuga or Totoro, and just be like, okay, they're just gonna step in there. Your Rabbit's gonna be useless. The running guy, I forget his name at this point, is gonna be useless.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, he does like the author has tried to bring this stuff more in, because one thing I really respect about Hiraka is that you can see that there is this kind of long-term plan going on. Because I don't know how far you went into it. Are you caught up with the anime?
We didn't watch.
We get up to. We got to. Like,
I think we didn't do the newest. We haven't seen the newest season and like half of the last season.
We saw the third season. We didn't watch the newest season. We watched like up to like the other tournament, and then like the other tournament arc, the second tournament.
Okay, yeah, the license exam, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because one thing the author starts doing from like season 4 and now in the manga onwards is that essentially because he has this large cast, he just starts like picking out characters that he wants to develop, gives them like a really satisfying character arc, and then just kind of puts them back where they were before, just with additional context.
Bunny girl? That's all I know is it's the bunny girl. It's like everything in My Hero now.
Yes, she appeared for like 2 panels in the final episode of season 4, or like 2 seconds. And meanwhile in the manga she got like a whole fight to herself and is now arguably the most popular character in the series. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with other characters in the class where people just out of nowhere get these really cool moments in character arcs that boost their popularity into high heavens, and then they take the backseat again until they get another moment. And it's, that kind of stuff that I really like about it.
I think when My Hero started, Froppy was like that, and the first season made her like super popular, and then he gave her like an anime-only like filler arc.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, it's crazy. Like,
it's so funny how her character in particular just like caught the internet by storm.
Yeah, and I don't think it's not like My Hero isn't like Naruto, One Piece, or Dragon Ball that had like a bunch of filler like nonstop, where like the filler came in like little pieces as seen from like the anime.
Yeah. Well, the special thing about filler is mostly that up until season 3, the way they handled filler was that they used the polls at the end of the manga chapters to determine what they wanted to do in fillers. Like, for example, in the manga, a lot of people were upset that they had never seen Endeavor, the flame guy, fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the anime reached the Stain arc, you see Endeavor have a little fight that was completely anime original. Or people wanted to see more internships, so they gave Froppy the internship filler episode.
That was so much fun. I loved like all the little internship scenes because I'm an anime only, so I haven't read any manga. But that's crazy, like how that all that stuff was like slid in pretty naturally, I think.
It's like One Piece where he had these other arcs going in these one chat, like the front page is like a little like mini story telling of another character.
Like
and then each chapter would tell us. Yeah, the buggy one especially is amazing. And I think that's really cool for a manga to like tell a story with no dialogue, like one page of every chapter.
Yes. Cool. I really love the buggy one, and I also really liked the way it like just kind of started doing shit with Enel or Eneru on like the moon and shit.
I love One Piece. I need to get back into it.
Yeah, I'm not nearly caught up. I'm still making my way through One Piece slowly, but like really want to. One thing you said that like I thought of a connection instantly was like how recently what's his name, Horikoshi, the My Hero Academia. I think that Dr. Stone is an anime or a manga rather that does that perfectly, where it could like will focus really heavy on like one character and then like kind of put them back, and it just makes like the whole cast feel so fleshed out, and like even when you only see a character for like one panel or like do like a 2-panel joke, you still feel like you're getting that character in the story.
Yeah, everybody has a role, and like the main character can't do. He has his like he's mind, not might. So like he had to depend on the might characters to take their role in. I love that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I'm a big advocate for like implicative characterization over big everyone has to do everything all the time characterization. Because once you can give a character that sort of satisfying high for just one arc, one like subplot, even if they just take a backseat and they just have like, as you said, like 2-panel jokes and whatnot, every single time they do that, you're reminded of that character, and their jokes are not just jokes, they're integrated into the context you have around that character. And I think that that's just a very efficient and very smart way of doing characterization when you have a larger cast.
Yeah, there are some, like, it's post where the anime is. I don't know if you read Dr. Stone.
I read it like a year ago, but I haven't caught up since.
So yeah, this might be beyond that. But there's like one scene, I won't go into detail. There's one scene that's like kind of it might be like a 3-page like mini story arc that's happening. It's like it's like an in-between arc section. So there's a lot of things happening. And like, so some of my favorite character moments have been these just small little stories that like you haven't maybe seen this character for like 10 chapters, but now they're there and they're still like developing, and they're still like pursuing their goals, and it just like I think at least Itagaka does such good job with like rotating characters throughout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a mark of a good author when you can manage these casts. Like, you know, I will defend My Hero from a lot of stuff. I am the My Hero man, but one thing I definitely will always admit is that when Horikoshi made the academia concept, he kind of shot himself into the foot, because he now was tasked with, okay, I need to make a class of characters that all need to be of a certain, like, they need to be of a certain number, so it feels like a class.
Mm-hmm.
But it's physically not reasonable to have 20 characters be of that much importance that early on. So it kind of immediately crippled itself in that regard. I do think he recovered eventually, but I will definitely admit to that. That's definitely
he broke up the class. At least he broke up the classes, like class A or class B. Like at least he did that. And Naruto, there's like the class as well, and he had to make like squad to 3 since it's like a rule. And like how only like out of all those characters, like 3 or 4 are like really relevant. The other ones, like as much as I love them, I'm like pushed back really hard.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just, but you know, I also feel that not every character has to be super relevant or super important. Like sometimes a character's existence can also just be there for additional context or for additional world building. Like that's also the way I've kind of come to understand the whole class in My Hero. It's like, okay, they're less there to be like, you know, big important characters outside of the select individuals that get chosen for those character arcs.
Do we need more Flesh Tail?
We do.
Do we need more Flesh Tail? I feel like I can do without Flesh Tail.
Well, hey, at least it makes the class feel like a class and like of a certain kind of scholastic relevance, even if not all of them are like the trendsetters. Yes. But honestly, I love the fact that some people have just stupid powers, because you know, you get a random power assigned to you at birth. It's like, of course, some people's are gonna just suck. I feel like that's so cool.
I mean, people are just born a shark. So, or at some point, just turn into a shark if their quirk develops late in life.
Yeah, man, it's like, oh no, little Timmy just grew his first fangs.
He grew gills.
Get the water tank.
Oh no. My God, he turned into a mantis. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is like horrifying, like body horror. It's like a Junji Ito where you just turn to your quirk and it's just like a bug related one. Your eyes, or you turn into like a fly, so your eyes just grow and like become multiple.
It's like Kefka's metamorphosis.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, okay, to be fair, that's also another thing that later on in the manga does get like fleshed out a bit more, like what it means to have your body mutated by a quirk.
Oh,
and
that's
what that
cool.
can mean. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that I always have to sell people on. My Hero Academia just gets better progressively, and the problem is that only the like weaker parts are currently animated. Even though we've got,
it gets better.
I sound like a One Piece stan. It's insane.
But it's like people go like, should I I don't want to watch One Piece. I'm just reading it's way better. Stop wanting to watch it.
Yes. I mean, okay. I read One Piece up to Dressrosa, and then then I dropped it. I gave One Piece 4 tries, and then I just decided, and with Dressrosa, I just decided, look, I don't have time for this.
Dressrosa drags so freaking much, and I love Law, and there's like a Law like arc, and I'm just like, I can't. This drags so much.
Yeah, no, it's
it has my favorite design for Robin, and I just can't keep going on.
Okay, no, I really don't like most of the post time skip designs, which is kind of why my motivation dropped once the time skip happened.
See, so. I love Robin's pre-time skip design, but I love her Dressrosa outfit. I literally have like a figure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like no shit, but I don't know.
Is that the one, Sam? Is that your figure that
the one
when you get the shirt wet
in the dress?
Oh no, because Sam has a fun Nico Robin figure where she has a shirt on, and if you get the shirt wet, like if you pour real water on the shirt,
that was the drunk buy, and yes, I have that, and yes, it is her swimsuit one. I mean, it's an hour and a half. Someone listens to it all and finds like out like he does he really like. Yes, I would make a video of it on Twitter if you really want it.
Oh, you definitely should.
But
all right. So, is there anything else that you'd like to touch on? I know this has been a really freeform discussion, but I've had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, quote unquote. Stone Ocean discussion.
Yeah, this is at the very end. What are you looking forward to the most? What are you looking forward to the least for part 6?
As I said, I really look forward to the end, like how they handle that, and I really think that just Stone Ocean ending in anime form is going to be like a huge like moment for the fandom. I feel like that is really going to be a big event because, of course, it's the ending of the original saga.
But anime onlys might not know that.
Yes, but also
you might get that reaction to see how people react to like this whole universe like ending.
Yeah, I actually wonder if it might go viral because it is very easily like sellable as like JoJo just destroyed the universe in a way, and I feel like people could very easily make it blow up, which would have its positives and negatives.
Because like they didn't blow up. Like the most recent thing was just like I think the Dio Jotaro fight had a thing like the whole approaching me thing memed out like crazy beforehand. But that was like years later, where I think the Road Roller was like the first thing to make people like, oh, I gotta go see this fight or I gotta go watch this end.
Also, saying like the JoJo's over. That might be like to get a lot of people to start to be like, oh wow, JoJo ended? Like JoJo has like a canonical ending?
Yeah, I'm not sure when you read it, but like when I started reading it, like I had the whole thing that part 7's different and it's like you gotta get to it. You have to rush through you read it to get to part 7 where like that kind of like maybe want to get through part 6 and like maybe it made it linger like or some stuff that I didn't like because it made me drag on too long because I wanted to get to part 7.
Yeah, I wonder how that'll affect the whole thing because of course with the anime releasing, it'll be basically like a celebration. You'll have part 6 merch, part 6 events, part 6 themed like stuff going around on Japanese. Yeah. So I wonder how that'll affect how people see part 6 because I feel like to a certain extent people still see it as very incidental, despite like its position as the ending. People often see it as like the part that you need to get through to get to Steel Ball Run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's unfortunately what happened to me. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to just going through it again, and maybe my point of view, like my idea would change through it watching it in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, looking forward to see like just Foo Fighters and Hermes and the crew just like together, like animated, and like some of the more fun fights I'm excited for, like Marilyn Manson, Goo Goo Dolls, and I'm excited for the fun stuff, like some of the longer, like it's the more serious, like the lockdown. Arc I'm not looking forward to them. I think
the maximum security.
Yeah, maximum
arc.
security.
Yeah, I think for me that might be the lowest point in the manga. I'm a little worried about. I don't want to say worried because obviously the manga exists and I really like the manga. So whatever they do in the anime is not going to change that opinion. But I feel like those might be a little lackluster. Personally, what I'm looking forward to the most, though, I think it's like the same thing for every JoJo part, is the OPs. I think.
Oh, yes.
How many?
The JoJo OPs, I think, are like the coolest thing to come out of JoJo because it really does just feel like a super celebration. Like they have so many references. Even in like the very first OP, you see like the first image is like Jolene. And it goes through like the manga panels of all of them, and like they just feel like celebrations of the part. They have so many references. I feel like they're so crafted with love. So they're like my favorite things.
Two or three OPs.
I think 2.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the last speed up one.
That'd be really fun if they just like did fast forward times 2.
I'm almost certain we will not get through part 6 without either a play or even a full-on like dedicated special OP referencing or even replaying the first OP of part 1.
The OP is just speeding through every single OP.
Yes, something like that. Because
that'd be so cool.
Whenever I ask people about this, they're always like, "Oh, they wouldn't do that. JoJo isn't that self-referential." It's like we're talking about JoJo.
Yeah, really.
I mean. When the final version of Trader's Requiem hit, and Giorno does the Dio pose in the OP, can you believe me how hard I screamed?
Like, it's every little thing, like when I read through part 5 and, like, you see Ponar for the first time, like, oh my god, like, I'm fucking great.
Yeah,
JoJo has that benefit of just being built upon this, like, ever-growing story, and it just makes those moments feel super special.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in my head, like, my perfect version of it would be just for the final clash with Pucci to do the fucking shonen anime thing where you have, like, I don't know, visions of the earlier JoJos standing behind Jolene or something while Sonochino Sadame blares. Like, that definitely won't happen. That's way too, like, normal for JoJo, but that would be cool. That'd be cool as shit.
I would love Sonochino Sadame to make a reappearance, because I think that is probably the best one.
I think they do what they did with Great Days, where they got the guys from, like, the first OPs to sing Great Days in, like, different parts.
That'd be super cool.
And just do that with, like, more... Because, they got Coda again to do, part 5, so some of them kind of overlap. They don't have to get too many, probably.
Fighting Gold, right?
He did Fighting Gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you had the guy who did Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town. He did Trader's Requiem.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh no, he's a super cool guy. You should follow him on Twitter. He keeps posting Buongiorno every day.
That's so cool. Yeah, I feel like there's so many elements to the JoJo fandom and, like, the JoJo production that I'm really just disconnected from. Maybe that's my fault, and I need to tap into that, because that's super cool.
And going to conventions, like, there were so many, like, part 5 cosplays, and there's usually a lot of Jolene's, but, like, now with the anime, like, it's gonna be crazy. But I'm excited for, like, for all the Foo Fighters, and I want to see, like, the Poochies and Weather, and just, like, I'm excited to see, like, just
if conventions happen again.
Yeah,
they will eventually.
Yeah, I'm actually interested how people are gonna manage to cosplay like Poochie's, like, awakened hair kind of thing.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised at the power of hair and extensions and wigs.
Yeah, he's got, like, the funniest eyebrows ever.
When he had the outfit, they just put little, like, extensions, like, into the holes in the back, and it works. I don't know. Will Poochie be black?
Oh God,
that's a big
whole
thing.
other discussion.
We don't need to go 2 hours more.
Exactly, but I mean, I think one thing that makes JoJo so special is that above most other productions, it really feels like it is made by people who have as much passion for it as the fans, because they're fans themselves. Because, like, it's crazy to think about that most people working on JoJo now grew up with the manga.
Yeah.
We're like, everybody got the anime really helped, and, like, unless you were, like, scouring old weeb and scouring the web to find these scans or downloads.
And they definitely exist. Like, those people, I know I follow some people on Twitter who said they got into JoJo in, like, 2003, and it's just like, well, these people obviously speak Japanese, but it's just, like, crazy.
And,
like,
but so
something
times
that
where, like, I think I've seen, like, this whole, like, road roller or, like, Dio at least once before the anime happened. Like, I feel like I seen them, like, maybe I saw, like, Heritage of the Future on, like, a video game channel maybe, and that's what I saw.
Oh yeah, I actually want to bring this up. I can't remember if I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but you might find this interesting, Dennis. So when I was in high school, so this was like 2010s, like 2010 2012. When this happened, there was this random, like, German website that I found that would it was a bunch of, like, flash videos that were just, like, flash loops that would play, and you just hit next and you'd see a new one. It was called, like, Zoom or Zufall or something like that. Like,
Zufall. Yeah, random.
Yeah, and it, like, I loved them, and I would go through all those videos, like, looking at, like, hundreds of them, flash videos at the time, and then recently I looked at it again for some reason, and so many of them have the road roller reference to it, and I was just like, how it was so surreal. Like, I've seen all of these, like, weird flash memes from, like, over a decade ago, and so many of them have like JoJo references in it. It was just bizarre.
But yeah. But it's very weird, because you also need to remember that, of course, the OVAs also existed in English capacity, which was also one way to experience JoJo in English. Plus, Part 3 existed as a limited English print back in the early 2000s.
And then we had Diesel in '97, which was a ripped off Part 3 to try to get people to read JoJo. Only one issue though.
Yeah.
I don't think Diesel really had too much of an impact, except
How dare you?
for being funny. Yeah, I think a lot of Westerns fans with JoJo were specifically with that Stardust Crusaders OVA.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think even smaller, like the Heritage of the Future game, because all of these like Flash memes that I'm referring to, they use like the DO-RE from the game.
Yeah.
So I think
The
that
game
might have
was
been like what
released,
the thing was.
Like there are like English copies on PS1 and Dreamcast, so it's a good
it's
add
funny.
game.
It's just I'd like to play that. It's just funny to me how it's just I don't know. It's cool that you can kind of track the lineage of how JoJo got inseminated into Western culture.
And and like also saying from like going through like our part 3, just like a lot of the names of characters in some images weren't revealed until Heritage of the Future. So like some lore you had to like get into from other stuff like games and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been interesting to live through that sort of era of its popularity and try to like piece together what the hell was happening.
Like this guy who's driving this stand car, his name is ZZ. I didn't know that. Now I do. Like Midler, oh no, she was hot the entire time. And punched her teeth out.
Oh no.
Like stuff like that. It's just cool. It's just like how long it's been around and like how much like media it's in, and like you may not even notice you like saw it before at certain points, or like
there's another thing that I saw pretty recently that kind of like blew my mind, because this is just like a Japanese thing. I think it was on like Nico Nico Doga and just had been like shared to YouTube, but it's a like Rhythm Heaven. It's like a Rhythm Heaven parody video, so it goes through like one of the Rhythm Heaven mixes, but it replaces all the characters with JoJo references, and it's like a really great video, and it's really fun, especially if you've read all of JoJo. But it's crazy to think that this was made in like 2008 2009, and just I don't know, it's bizarre because it feels like something you'd see someone make now, but the fact that it's been around for over a decade is just like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the fan animated Part 5 opening?
Yeah,
that shit was made in like 2004.
Whoa, I didn't know it was that old.
Like, it's insane. The one where you have, you know, Jono absorb the arrow and like he explodes into light. It's so good, and it still fits with Trader's Requiem. That's the thing that bugs me out. It's like, I guess Part 5 just has that sort of vibe.
So you can't put like Linkin Park over it, like a montage from 2004.
I mean, you probably can. Let's be real. If you put your mind to it, you can put Linkin Park over everything. I have a friend on Twitter who his most viral tweet was him putting Linkin Park over bacteria eating each other.
Sasuke versus Naruto zoomed in. Oh my god.
You just try so hard, you go so far, but in the end, it just doesn't matter.
Man, you hate to see it.
Oh, I hate to see it.
Yeah, it detests to see it.
Anything else?
Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to chat about?
I don't know. I think we've covered most bases, no?
Yeah, no, this is a really
barely
fun...
talked about part 6.
Hey, that's how much they talked about it in the stream. So...
Wait, yeah. We match it up. Welcome to Brokakaka, where we get off track very easily.
Yeah, that's the fun, though.
Yeah. The fun part is just rambling. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's enjoyable. We touch on so many different things, and I mean, in the end, we said one or two things on.
In the end, it didn't
Ocean.
really matter.
It's not technically clickbait.
So yeah.
All right.
So,
yes.
The plug part.
Yeah, if you want to plug your stuff, if you have any particular videos or anything you'd like to plug.
Yes.
I don't know. The one video I'm always plugging is the Golden Wind video because I really want that to hit 1 million views. Just because.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Man, that shit was such a hassle to make.
You want your hard work to pay off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like at 500,000 now, so I'm always like plugging it, showing it to everyone. So yeah, anyone listening, go watch The Brilliance of Golden Wind. The guy who made it knows his shit sometimes.
I'll include a link to it in the description box.
Yeah. Give him a subscribe. Give you a subscription as well if you haven't.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Anything else you want to plug? You want to plug Twitter or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I have a Twitter at Oceaniz96. I have a Twitch, which you can find linked in my Twitter. I also have a Patreon, but that you can find just through going through my stuff. Don't worry about it. I also have that Part 5 fanfiction that I need to send you.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. Aside from that, just one thing I also want to plug is there's this really cool JoJolian podcast that you should be listening to. You might be familiar with it if you're listening to this. Definitely give Jokakaka a listen.
I was gonna wait for you to say yeah, you should check out Medi's podcast.
No, I'm not mean.
Thank you so much for the shout out on our podcast.
Hey, no problem, guys.
No, but really,
that was gonna be my plug though.
Yeah.
Anything else or?
Thank you
good.
so much.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. Always a pleasure. These Brokakakas are so fun to do.
Yeah, these are by far my most favorite things to do that of all the stuff that we've done for Jokakaka.
Yes. So yes, if you listen to this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff as well. Let's check out all those. We're gonna have all those links in there. You can follow the podcast on Twitter and each of us separately on Twitter as well. And anything else you want to plug, Jim?
No, I think we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Once again, I just want to give a big thanks to Dennis for joining us.
Yes.
This is super fun. Maybe we can do a follow-up in 4 years when the Stone Ocean anime actually does come out.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that.
We'll assemble 6 bros for the Brokaka.
Yeah, it'll be like
Match
Stardust
parts.
Crusaders, but Brokakaka Crusaders.
The World Warriors.
All right, and with that, we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.